It's the gas man.
Grace us with your presence, grace us with your power. Who's the Messiah?
Basic steps of servicing. Right, that's the case removed. So we're just going to do visual inspection first, checking for any signs of any water leaks. Look in here, let's check all the components. Got the pump there, diverter valve there, flow cartridge there. They can leak, so we'll just check around there for any signs of any water. Condensate trap there, which will come out in a moment. Got gas valve just there. Expansion vessel there, which we're going to drain. Give that a click. That sounds okay, but we won't rely on that. We will drain the pressure off and check that. Got a fan there, heat exchanger there. This plate will come off. We'll check that. Electrodes, they will come off. That's your boiler stat. That's your overheat stat. And there we go. So first impressions. Oh, that's okay. Right, first thing I've done is take the case off, and the first thing I'm going to do is check the case seal for integrity, as this is a room sealed appliance. There we go, that's fine. Right, so get the 10mm socket on those to undo this plate. Right, remove that, just check that seal. Make sure there's no sort of the white ghosting marks where it could be gone, but that's all good. With this plate next, normally just a tap there and it'll fall forward. And there are all the bits we're going to clean out next. Clean this out now. We're going to be using the Worcester tool. Now this is the best thing to use because all them little bits in there will fall into them holes, and when you're pulling it out, you're actually going to be pulling the bits out. So let's start at the top and work down. Been a few apprentices get in touch this week with me, and one of the best bits of kit you can buy is the good old Henry. Perfect for servicing. It all out. Next thing I like to do is just get a jug of water and just rinse out the inside of that heat exchanger and let the water run through, and then when we clean the trap next, we'll pick all these bits out. There we go. Look how clean that is now. Loads better. And it's rinsed all them bits out in there. So that'll run through the boiler, through the trap, and then we'll take that out. And in the bottom there is where you can just about see some of the bits in there. Look, see them bits? We'll clean those out next. Next up, I'm going to clean the condensate trap out. So, take that off. Get that tucked up there out the way. We're going to unclip that, pull it forward, and I always stick my finger up there, pull it out. This is a bit tricky one-handed. There we go. So pull it out like that, and then we can empty it into our bucket. See, that's all the stuff we've got out of that heat exchanger from cleaning it and washing it through. Quite a lot, so we'll clean that out and put it back together. Right, so we're going to put the trap back in, line that up on that rail at the back, push it up, click in, just like that. Get that tube, push it on there, and that's the condensate trap done. Right, we'll do this plate up in reverse order. Just tighten those up. When it's fully tight, just give it an extra turn. You don't want to be too tight in case they snap off. So that's stopped turning there, and I'm just going to give it that sort of much, and that's fine on that. Right, so next up is I want to check the electrodes, because these are one of the first things that will go wrong if they're not clean, even if they need replacing, like quite often they do. This is the new set. The older set will sometimes have a glass viewing window in there. Now it's recommended if you see those to change them over, but these ones we're just going to clean and check the seal. So there you can see, slightly out of shape, and that's got a bit of green on it. Now that is normal, we could clean off, but them have bent out of shape, so we're going to change them and fit a new set of new electrodes in. So just pop those back on like so. If you ever do struggle to get them out, sometimes it's probably a better one to show you. You just want to turn them a little bit because the rubber can stick to the electrode. Give them a turn and a twist, and then they'll come off like that. So we want to be checking the pressure in this next. We want that at 1 bar air pressure when it's drained down. This is one of the things that will cause most problems on a boiler. So what we're going to do, move off that finger, isolate the water, and then after I've done that, we're going to drain it down. On this Worcester, it's got a handy drain valve that goes into the waste pipe. So open that, drain in the system pressure off, stop, and I'm going to leave that valve open. So just check it's drained. No. The next thing we're going to do is unscrew the Schrader valve, and we're going to screw the pump on. Now, a little bit of air there, but that doesn't sound enough to me. So again, check we're on the drain valve's left open, check we're on 0, and there we go. So on the foot pump, we haven't got 1 bar of air pressure, so we're going to pump that up now. We're on 0 there, which is what we want. And then on the top pump, we've got a bar, so that tells me that expansion vessel is fully charged now. So we'll take that off there quickly. And we will screw that Schrader valve cover back on. We are now going to do that drain tap up, which is just a quarter turn clockwise. That's done up. And next, we're going to open our valves back up. There's that one. And that one. And then keyless filling link on the Worcester, so we're going to pull that down and keep it open until we get to 1.5 bar. Perfect. So that's that expansion vessel pressurised and the system pressure put back up to 1.5. Next thing we're going to do is clean this filter. So we're going to switch those valves off. There's one. 2. And then release the air pressure, because that can create a vacuum and make it trickier to undo. So we'll do that. We need to undo it. Okay. Let's see what we've got inside there. That's not too bad at all. So let's put the camera down and I'll clean that up. So it's cleaned. Put that back in there. And we'll do the air bleed up. And then we can open the valve. There we go. Right, the next thing we're going to do is check that the flue goes up through there. It's all clipped and secured. It's screwed there, it's a good sign. He's got the fire plate on the roof. So next, just got to get up the loft hatch and check that out. Right, we're going to do our gas rate next. So I'll just make a note of that number and then go and switch the boiler on. So press A and that comes up like so. Turn the boiler back on. Switch that to maximum. Hold chimney sweep down for 10 seconds. Till the lights flash. There we go, that's set to maximum rate. That will fire up in a minute and then we can time our gas rate, put the numbers in the app and work out. There we go, so that's just coming to fire up now. So I'm just going to get my number and then write it into the app and sort it out. Alright, so I'm going to put the boiler into chimney sweep mode. Okay, turn it around to maximum. Do need to adjust the high pressure, we would take this cap off there, that comes off, there's a screw in that and we can go plus or minus inside there to adjust the high. That's not used on this one, but that one is for the minimum, but as they were both perfect straight away, there's no need to alter them. That's fine. So now we do the load, turn that down to low and we'll just let that settle out. Go down. That's still within tolerance. That's settled down. I'm not going to adjust that to 0.1%. But if I did, we would be doing that one with a 4mm Allen bolt, but no, that's fine, so that's perfect. Right, so press that once more to turn it off chimney sweep. I set that around 5, which is roughly around 70° flow rate. I'm going to nip inside in a minute and check all the radiators, make sure they're working and the customer's happy with those. I'm also going to transfer all that data onto my Gas Engineer software. I'll include some clips now of what that looks like and what details we fill in. I won't include them all because obviously it's got customers' confidential details on, but that is pretty much how I would do a service on this. I've not shown you every last little detail because I don't want to give everything away. One thing to note, that's perfectly normal, that symbol. Because we've had the power off and it's not been running, I think 10 minutes is the time, it will only heat up to, I think it's around 40-45 degrees in that 10-minute period. So after that time has elapsed, they will disappear and we'll be back to a normal font on there. Oh dear, of all the boilers it could have been, it's the dreaded Baxi GA range. There's obviously the bowl where it's catching the water. Let's get in and have a look. Right then, so I've taken the case off. The boiler's still running. Diverter valve looks okay. Auto air vent is obviously a point of concern. think that is possibly where the leak's coming from. The bowl is placed under there, so that tallies up with that. That nut on the safety valve has been dripping. This boiler's running and the pressure is okay. So maybe it's not that, maybe that's just where the water's been escaping from, but we'll drain it down, we'll check the expansion and we'll change the auto air vent just there. Tip here, on your gauge rubber, the Regan pack, you get this test nipple adapter, and that's ever so useful on these Baxi drain taps to push in, and I don't know if you can see that, just connect that on under there, so that's connected through. Run that to the bucket and then we can drain down it. So we're going to isolate the power. Right, we'll isolate the boiler on both sides and start the boiler draining down. And we'll just wait for that to stop, and then we'll change that auto air vent, and we'll also check the pressure in the expansion vessel. Right, so we connect the pump to the Schrader valve, which is on top of the boiler, nice and accessible on this one. These little pump adapters, ever so useful. I believe you can get them on eBay now, but some Baxi boilers, when the engineer's bin, will leave them on there, so sometimes you can take them away and just screw the Schrader cap back on. That's connected to the foot pump, which is down here. Just alter my light. Let's see what we've got in there. So we've got no pressure in the expansion vessel. So the first thing we're going to do is pump that up until we get to 1 bar. So as you can see, that's pumped up to 1 bar. The boiler gauge is under there, that's showing 0 bar. So that tells me we've got 1 bar of air pressure in the expansion vessel. So we'll undo that quickly. There we go. There we go. So we're just going to get some LDF on that and check it's not leaking. Right, so there was a little hiss then and I've just pushed it and it seems to have sealed. But if I just spray a bit of leak detector fluid on there, that'll just tell me if that's held. And as you can see, as if it was a gas leak, there's no air coming out of there, so that's held. So dry that off, screw the cap back on, and now we'll change the auto air vent. Right then, so we've got the expansion sorted. We're going to change this leaking auto air vent next, so that's just a 1/4 turn like so. So I'm going to put my phone down, we're going to get the grips like so, and then just lever and wiggle that out, maybe a bit of WD-40 on it as well. Right, yeah, wasn't that straightforward to come out, but if you get your grips on it, wiggle it side to side and then it'll pull up. So that will come out there. And we're probably going to, don't look too bad, there's bits on it, but I think that's definitely our leak, definitely that. Right, quite a bit of muck in there, can you see that? So what I'm going to do next is just get some white rolling and give it a clean out. There's the new one that's going in, so move my arm, push that down like so, and then we'll get the grips in. So we've got the new one in, just got to twist it round now and locate it into place like so. There we go. So pull that out now, open both valves like so, check the pressure, and we'll open the fill-in loop, which is on a braided hose on this one. There's the water going in. Take that to the top of the green triangle because we're going to lose a bit of the air coming out. A bit more. There we go, that's the pressure in. See it dropping a bit with the air coming out, put a bit more in. There we go. Perfect. Next up is this little grommet, which covers the drain tap. Bit of a fiddly thing, but it's very important you get that in because it's a room sealed appliance, and without that in, it's not room sealed. There we go. That's all fitted in. I'm just going to change the washer in there because I think the water may have been leaking there, and just to make sure we're 100%. And right, we'll turn it on. Right, unfortunately, with the GA range, they're known for having a dodgy board, but you've got to isolate the power when you work on it, so sometimes the board doesn't turn back on, but hopefully, fingers crossed. There's the fan noise. Display's back on. Pump's working, we're okay. So press that for a couple of seconds, turn the boiler back on. There we go. Now we'll get it operating, put the case back on, and do all our gas checks. Job done.
Don't get it twisted, putting it all together. Form an impatient cue. Subtle clues come through. Ain't it funny when you're doing well? They wanna pull you back under the wishing well. They wanna spit, talk shit, keep you off your tits. I seen the lights, I sussed them out. Why simmer down, my friend? It's my symphony, and I'm rising to the top. You wanna pull me down? Well, I kick you off when I get to the top. Does it make you feel better about yourself? You wanna expose, control, dethrone anyone that's beneath your sorry self. I seen the lights, I sussed them out. Well, I simmer down, my friend, it's my symphony, and I'm rising to the top. You wanna pull me down? Well, I kick you off when I get to the top. I'll take it one day at a time. I'll make it what you fuckers see. I'll take it one day at a time. I'll make it what you fuckers see. I'll take it one day at a time. I'll make it what you fuckers see. I'll take it one day at a time. I'll make it what you fuckers see. I seen the light, I sussed them out. I simmer down, my friend, it's my symphony, and I'm rising to the top. You wanna pull me down? Well, I kick you off when I get to the top. Get to the top. I've seen your prophecies. It's not exclusive, it's intrusive. You're more abusive than elusive. Grace us with your presence, grace us with your power. Who's the Messiah? Who's the Messiah? Ah, yeah. Who's the Messiah? Who's the Messiah? Ah, yeah. He's a compulsive liar, he's not the man I admire. He's a compulsive liar, he's not the man I admire. There's an oath of alliance. There's a ransom from heaven. A seductive tyrant. Grace us with your presence, grace us with your power. Who's the Messiah? Who's the Messiah? Ah, yeah. Who's the Messiah? Who's the Messiah? Ah, yeah. He's a compulsive liar, he's not the man I admire. He's a compulsive liar, he's not the man I admire.